everybody, how's it going? My name's Dorian and today I'm going to tell you how AMMs are changing NFT marketplaces as we know it. Right now, the most dominant marketplace hands down for NFTs is Magic Eden. But if you've been involved in this space for a bit, you know Magic Eden is far from perfect. Magic Eden has not only tarnished its brand by supporting projects that have rugged, but they are also very slow to implement any quality of life improvements on their UI. This has led to the market yearning for a new NFT marketplace to rival Magic Eden that really fits their needs. The demand for a new marketplace has led to the creation and rise of new marketplaces that integrate AMMs such as Tensor and Hadeswap. Many people have heard about automated market makers or AMMs, but are really confused about what they are, how to use them, and how it benefits you as a trader. Not fully understanding what AMMs are can make you a little bit apprehensive about utilizing the platform. But don't worry, your boy got you covered. By the end of this video, you'll know all that you need to know about AMMs and why they benefit you as a trader. I've included links down in the description box below so you can hop around to the parts that are interesting to you. Before we get started, I want to say that I co-host a stream called RareFud Radio every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. EST with my boys Bison and Joe. On this stream, we discuss the Solana NFT market and all the plays that we're actively engaged in to give you guys the best alpha possible. Lastly, I want to say that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. All the information contained in this video is for informative purposes only. Now that's out the way, let's jump into it. Before we can start discussing what AMMs are and how they benefit you as a trader, it's important to understand what the heck an AMM even is, and even more so, what the heck is a market maker? So we're taking this way back. Whether you know it or not, you've interacted with a market maker before. How? Because you moved money from a central exchange to a phantom wallet. If you conducted any type of trading on a centralized exchange, guess who facilitated that trade? A market maker. A market maker is an individual who matches up traders on a centralized exchange to help facilitate trade. So if you're on a centralized exchange and you want to sell 10 SOL for $100, that market maker is going to find someone who wants to buy 10 SOL at $100. Because Web3 has such a heavy emphasis on decentralizing commonly held centralized practices, this concept gave rise to the automated market maker. An automated market maker, or AMM, is the underlying protocol of all decentralized exchanges. AMMs provide a way to conduct trade in a decentralized manner without the use of a market maker. If not for AMMs, you would have to go onto a centralized exchange every time you wanted to swap SOL to USDC or USDC to SOL. Guess what? That takes a lot of time and nobody wants to do that. If market makers are the individuals pairing people to conduct trade on a centralized exchange, and we know AMMs are a way to conduct trade in a decentralized manner, but the question is still there, who matches up these individuals to conduct trade? The answer to that is no one. Or I could say it's kind of a little bit about everybody, or at least everybody who wants to. The way that AMMs are able to facilitate trade in a decentralized manner heavily relies on people willing to take their crypto and NFTs and deposit it into a liquidity pool. The people that choose to take their crypto or NFTs and deposit into a liquidity pool are called liquidity providers. A liquidity pool is nothing more than a smart contract that contains a pool of people's money. I know what you're thinking right now. Why in the heck would somebody be willing to give up their SOL or NFTs and deposit them into a smart contract so other people can trade with it? It literally makes no sense. Well, there's a big reason that people are willing to do it is because there's huge incentives to do so. One of the biggest reasons that people decide to become liquidity providers is because they gain yield and trading fees for doing so. Last year, I was a liquidity provider on a DEX called DeFi Kingdoms. For those around at that time, everybody knows how hyped this thing was. I was pulling in like 1,500 APR, making close to $2,000 a month. It was absolutely insane. How I missed the bull market. But don't worry, we'll return there one day. If you were around this time last year and you were a liquidity provider in one of these high APR farms, please let me know which one's down in the comment section below. I know you're sitting there like, Dorian, yo, can we get to the NFT part? This whole thing has been focused on DeFi. I didn't come here for DeFi. I came here for the NFTs. Look, dog, I know, I got you. However, because AMMs are so integral to DeFi, you can't talk about how they're being integrated into NFTs without having a basic understanding of how they work in DeFi. Tensor and Hadeswap are so revolutionary because they managed to successfully take this DeFi focused concept and bring it into NFT marketplaces. Similar to the way that liquidity providers give up their Sol or any other crypto to help facilitate trade on DEXs, Tensor and Hadeswap are seeking to do the same thing for AMMs regarding NFTs. Now, let's finally discuss how AMMs make NFTs more liquid. Liquidity is a term that is thrown around constantly in this space, and if you're new, you might not really understand what people are referring to. When people are talking about liquidity, it's usually used in a couple ways. The first way is that people refer to it as the amount of money they have. So as an example, you can say, I really want to get into this mint, but I don't have enough liquidity. Liquidity also refers to the ability to easily trade in and out of a position. If you are easily able to buy and sell an asset, then that asset is said to be liquid. However, if it is difficult to buy or sell an asset, that asset is called illiquid. Because NFTs are traditionally difficult to sell, they're known as illiquid assets. I know I might have stated this several times by now, but I just want to drive the point home. AMMs being integrated into NFT marketplaces are so revolutionary because they take these illiquid assets and finally make them liquid. They make them liquid because if you want to sell your NFT, you can immediately go ahead and do so. There's liquidity sitting there waiting for you. Before AMMs, the best way to quickly sell your NFT was to go on Magic Eden and significantly undercut the floor. And even then, there's no guarantee that somebody's gonna come along and buy your NFT. So you got your fingers crossed, sitting there waiting and hoping that someone stumbles in and buy your specific NFT. This not only negatively affected the global floor price of the NFT collection, but it also didn't give you, the trader, a fair market value of the NFT that you're trying to sell quickly. The fact that you can quickly go on to Tensor or Hadeswap and sell your NFT is game changing. It's absolutely nuts. Now the question is, who are you buying this NFT from? The answer to that is the liquidity provider. I know what you're thinking, why would a liquidity provider want to buy my NFT? Well, there are some huge benefits for somebody taking on the risk to provide liquidity for NFTs. The two biggest reasons that someone would want to provide liquidity for NFTs is that they're able to buy NFTs below the global floor price while also gain trading fees. As a liquidity provider, you get the amazing opportunity to purchase NFTs below the global floor price. The global floor price is the lowest price of an NFT collection on all marketplaces. Liquidity providers are able to purchase NFTs below the global floor price because they're the market makers. Let's say the global floor price of a collection is 5 Sol. A liquidity provider can come along and say, hey, I'm willing to buy NFTs for 4 Sol. Guess what? As a trader, you're likely to take that opportunity because you're like, man, yeah, it's below the global floor price, but I don't have to pay royalties and I can go ahead and use that 4 Sol for something else, so you're willing to take it. There are plenty of D8 gens out there who have things that come up, life circumstances change, and that provides an amazing opportunity for those providing liquidity. So if the global floor price is 10 and you come along and manage to pick up an NFT for 6, boom. 4 Sol unrealized profit. One of the things that I love most about Tensor and Hadeswap is that you can provide both double-sided liquidity and single-sided liquidity. Double-sided liquidity pools are essentially taking your NFTs in Sol and putting them into a liquidity pool. So as soon as you deposit your liquidity, you can begin buying and selling NFTs. However, a single side is when you deposit only Sol or only your NFTs into a liquidity pool. I do want to say that all single-sided liquidity pools eventually do transition to a double-sided liquidity pool as you buy and sell NFTs. The other benefit for providing liquidity for AMMs is that you gain trading fees. On Hadeswap, you can generate trading fees for every trade that is executed. On Tensor, you gain trading fees based upon every time you buy and sell an NFT as a market maker. And the best part about all of this is that you get to set the fees. This is absolutely crazy. So instead of you having to pay royalties to the creator and you having to pay royalties to the marketplace, you get all the benefit from taking on the risk. I do want to clarify that on Tensor, they do have a 1% royalty fee. However, you still get to set the percentage that you will receive from each time you buy and sell an NFT. You can set this percentage ranging from 0% to 25%. On Hadeswap, you can go from 0% to 99.5%. However, I don't recommend setting trading fees that high because then nobody's gonna trade in your liquidity pool. In short, AMMs are changing NFT marketplaces as we know it because they're making these historically illiquid markets liquid by allowing traders to immediately sell their NFTs for liquidity. They also allow liquidity providers to buy NFTs low and sell them high. As with any investment, there's always a certain amount of risk that you have to undertake, and providing liquidity is no different. So now let's discuss a couple risks involved with being a liquidity provider. The primary risk that you have to worry about as a liquidity provider on an AMM for NFTs is impermanent loss, or commonly known as IL. Impermanent loss occurs when the price of an NFT drastically shoots up or down. So let's say you're a liquidity provider and you're providing liquidity with 10 NFTs and the price shoots from 10 SOL all the way up to 30 SOL. What happens to your NFTs that you were providing liquidity with? Well, what happened is you sold all 10 of your NFTs slowly at higher prices, and you've netted around a good bit of SOL. However, you've still taken a loss. The loss that has happened is if you would have held those 10 NFTs while they shot up to 50, instead of DCing out being a liquidity provider, you would have had more money. Wow, let's take this example and it goes the opposite way. And you have to purchase NFTs on the way down. The floor price of these NFTs was 10 SOL and now it's 1. Right now, you have a bunch of NFTs and no SOL. The risk here is, what happened if this asset never goes back up? You just lost your SOL, and not only that, the NFTs that you provided that were 10 SOL are now worth 1. Another risk associated with providing liquidity is the liquidity pool being hacked. I know we've all heard about huge liquidity pools being hacked in DeFi. Well, guess what? You're at risk of this happening in NFTs as well. The code on Hadeswap is open source and everybody can look at it and do self-audits. Tensor's coding is not open source, but they do have a long history of experience of creating staking platforms for NFT projects that are actively using them right now. All in all, it's better to be safe than sorry. So never put more money into a liquidity pool than that you can afford to lose. After all of this, I'm sure you're wondering if you should become a liquidity provider. If you're someone with a couple of NFTs and this really excites you and you really want to jump in and learn how to become a liquidity provider, I say go ahead. There's nothing wrong with jumping in and learning. However, only use money that you're willing to lose, especially if you're learning. I do want to say that if you're someone with less than 5 NFTs of a collection, it's probably not in your best interest to be a liquidity provider. Providing liquidity really benefits those individuals who would have a substantial amount of one collection. I say this because if you create a liquidity pool with 1 NFT, the chances of you generating trading fees are far less than the opportunity that someone who has provided liquidity with 10 to 15 NFTs. They are more likely to have trading happen within their pool vice your 1 NFT that you have. You should also not seek to provide liquidity for every NFT collection. We all know that NFTs, one announcement can change everything for the positive and negative. So if you're not actively engaged in a project on a daily basis, you're not going to be able to know when you should withdraw your liquidity or adjust trading zones while providing liquidity. While you are able to generate trading fees passively through being a liquidity provider, it's still a very active activity. You really have to monitor these things on a daily basis so you don't suffer impermanent loss. But once again, no harm in trying it out, and I'm a huge advocate for everybody to get out there and give it a shot, because understanding how to provide a liquidity is a really useful tool that a lot of people don't have knowledge about. If you're interested in seeing a video from me about my AMM strategies, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. I want to thank you all for making it to the end of this video, and I really hope that this video has done a great job explaining what AMMs are and how they benefit you as a trader. I also hope that this video has showed you how AMMs are going to change NFT marketplaces forever. I know this was a ton of info, and some things might still be confusing. AMMs and DeFi are a very complex topic, so if you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter or down in the comment section below and I'll personally get back to you. Tensor and Hadeswap are both amazing platforms that I think will continue to vampire liquidity from Magic Eden. We're already seeing this live right now, and one of these marketplaces are likely to be the one that comes out on top in the future. If you'd like to see me do a video on which AMM I think will come out on top, let me know down in the comment section. Finally, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Click that subscribe button and ding that notification bell so you don't miss out on any further videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.